The idea for the community book read came from observing several book clubs that we have in our city. And I said, what if we as a district actually read the same book throughout the entire city? And the goal was to find a book that would actually empower lives. And we selected the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families in order for everyone to read throughout the entire city. What I hope to gain from reading that particular book was to have families looking at similar values. And if you think about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families, there are 7 specific habits. And so I said, what if all the students on the playground were thinking win-win? Or if everyone was thinking about the emotional bank account, and that's a theme that ran through the book. And parents were specifically, deliberately teaching the same values. And I wanted to have more unity throughout our city.
Well, luckily we have great people that we work with. I can name Diane Hellerstedt that helped as far as the organization of the groups, because we had to come up with 1,000 readers. And we had to organize groups and who was going to be in the groups and what time they were going to meet. And having the organizational skills that she has along with other people that came on board, such as some of the PD people, we were able to make phone calls or talk to people, go out in the community with people. The other big portion of it was with the parent ambassadors. They were out there helping us name groups, lead groups, and get individuals that didn't have a group and being placed in the group. So it was a lot of communication, and that's probably the biggest piece, is that you're communicating on a daily basis.
We jumped right on it when we found out that Noemi, our parent ambassador, told us about that it was available in Spanish. We didn't realize at the time that it was limited as to the number of books in Spanish. We reached out to some of our vendor partners who we get textbooks from, and had them looking for the book for us, and as it turned out, we bought every Spanish copy that was available of this book in order to support our book read.
Entonces esto me ayuda, me calma, me relaja, y digo, oh sí, esto tengo que hacer con los niños.
So we have a lot of young families that we can, we've been teaching them, but this just solidifies a lot of those principles that if they get it at the beginning, that's our desires. That's what we want to reach young families that are just beginning, these are the first years of their married, they're starting out with young children. What a great opportunity to instill those principles now, because when those trials come, because they're going to come, trials are going to hit you, society's going to hit you, culture's going to hit you. When that happens, you have the tools to attack those situations that will totally develop your family into that that goal where you always wanted,
And that's what chapter 5, the habit 5, is all about. We don't see what they see.
Right. And it goes in more detail in habit 6.
Yes.
Because a mother in habit 6.
I can remember if it was 5 or 6.
Each other as family, so that when we get together, it won't be a distance between us. And my stepchildren call me mom, my children call my husband dad, and we just make sure that we instill in our children that family is first, and it has been really good, and everyone is communicating with each other, but we make sure that despite whatever we go through, we have to make sure that we talk it out and we come together cohesively so that we can continue to build our family bond.
That image that he does in the rocks in the jar, the big rocks with the little pebbles falling around it. That image actually brought tears to my eyes when I saw it. I was like, I gotta dump out the bucket and start over.
One of the kids fell asleep, and the other kid was up, and they were still there. And then when the father, one of the kids was cold, and he covered him up, and he took the kid in the house. And then when the other kid was in the bed, he said, "Would you give me your coat?" How would you respond to that?
I wanted it to evolve. I wanted each book club to be personal, so we didn't want to over direct, We wanted people to talk about real situations. While we did provide some dialogue, discussion questions, we said wherever you went in that conversation, go. Now, in addition to leading a group, I had the opportunity to participate in a group at a beauty salon. So we went there, and there was a hairstylist. She was actually the one leading it, but there was a group of people, male and female, who sat around, and we had high-level discussions about family dynamics. But we let it evolve. So I just appreciate the fact that people took it personally and made it sure that it was personal for each and every group discussion.
We have a large body of students, 34,000 or somewhere around there, of students that make us proud day after day. And I believe that a lot of that has to do with the families, the parents, the sisters, the brothers, and everybody else who is involved in that educational process. So I am pleased to see all of you this evening, and I am pleased to see everything that happened in the last couple of months or so when we were going through the exercise of reading the book. And tonight is the culmination of that exercise. But I hear a lot of people saying, no, this is not going to be the end, this is going to be the step one, because we want to continue reading the book. We want to continue having those conversations.
I'm just going to give you a highlight or two, and then, hopeful that it's interesting, I want you to know that this is what Jane and I, as we've taught 8,000 families and other people for the last 15 years, this is what we have found has been very significant. Now, the analogy that Stephen uses is that the family is like the flight of an airplane. The flight of a family is like the flight of an airplane. I flew from here, from Salt Lake City to California. And the airplane had three critical elements, essential. One, I'm going to see if this works. Can you see that? One is a destination. You've got to have a clear destination. Two is a flight plan. Something that you believe in and you know you can get to. And three is a compass, an internal compass. Now, just like airplanes, families are off 90% of the time. Two men are driving down the highway here, 60, and they're going the speed limit, and all of a sudden another person cuts right in front of them, and everything just hits the window. One person has a family, a dog and so on, the other person has a couple of roommates or something. Everything hits the window, they all bumped around. This person is reactive. What will this person do? Yeah. What signs will he give, and etc. Right? This person is proactive. What will they do? How's everybody? Is everybody okay? This person could chase after this, and I actually had a dear friend of mine who got caught up in a proactive challenge and ended up crashing and killing his whole family because somebody challenged him in a car. So now, what's the difference? It's exactly the same thing that happened to him. What's the difference between being reactive and being proactive? What is it?
Choices, decisions.
It's your thoughts, it's 30 seconds, let me just give you the definition, and I wish you'd really think about this. The reactive person, or excuse me, the proactive person, takes control of them and makes their choices based on their values. Based on their values. They know their values, and they make choices based on their values.
Amazing. And the reason why I say that is because parents came with their books excited about hearing the tenets of the book again and all of the habits, and he actually mesmerized us. Actually, when I saw him, I said, is he going to be able to capture our families? And he did that. He let us know that there's nothing more important than the family. And we had over 200 in attendance, and we were engaging, and it was interactive, and it was great to see across the room that everyone had participated and that they looked forward to this culminating event.
Out of this book read, we heard so many wonderful stories come out. So, all the work that went in it was very much well worth it, because it changed and impacted some people's lives. And it probably touched a lot of lives as far as reading the book and making it their own, connecting it to the stories of their lives. So it was impactful in that aspect, and it made it worth it.
Go? Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah, I was like, I'm the first one done. Oh, you can too? Come on, guys.
Well, the parent ambassadors is something I have not experienced in all the other school districts I've been in, and I've been in a lot. The very act of having parents leading and teaching and working with and modeling for other parents and encouraging them, to me, takes it from a school-oriented, please come, to a parent-oriented, this is us. And because we want to have we want to have the student and the parent be on the same page, so that when the student gets good things at school, they go home and it's reinforced, and vice versa. I just think it's a phenomena I hadn't seen before. I want to really study this and take this back to a lot of people. I was on a state school board. We didn't know what parent ambassadors were. It's a beautiful vision.
There was a big commitment from the superintendent using a large portion of her budget to support that. We also reached out. We did get quite a substantial donation from Altura Credit Union to help us purchase some books. Some of the sites then went on to purchase additional copies because they wanted to spread the word just besides their one little book club. So there were multiple sources, but again, a big commitment came from Dr. White. We also had support from the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, who has granted us some donation money to support some of Dr. White's initiatives, and this was one of them as well.
Thank you for coming together so that we could talk about the 7 habits of highly effective families. Habit 1, be proactive. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Habit 3, first things first. Habit 4, think win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Habit 6, synergize. And habit 7, sharpen the saw.